So we see that Charlie is running for city council, and we also find out the truth about that Octavia St. Laurent. Let's talk about Queen Sugar. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Queen Sugar Season 4, Episode 6, and the name of this episode is By the Spit. This was a really good episode, y'all, and I can't wait to talk about it, so let me begin. First, we get a scene between Nova and Octavia, and it's been perfectly clear from the beginning since we met Octavia that she's latched on to Nova, because she has her own agenda. I definitely remember, the first time we saw her, one line, because she is just mad because there was only one line and she didn't even mention her name and she felt some kind of way. So we already know that Octavia is an egoist. She's self-centered. And she's literally invited herself on Nova's tour, and she's literally trying to take control of everything. Like, she was saying that, oh yes, I can, make some calls and everything to get some things set up for the tour. And, Nova was like, Deborah usually handles all of that, but okay. And then Nova gets a call, and she gets good news that she's being shortlisted for the National Book Award. But you can definitely tell after Octavia hugs her, Octavia feels some kind of way. And we can definitely tell there is a lot of jealousy and envy going on. And, and then again, Octavia is again being messy. It's like, but the thing is, Nova, you don't need an award to help people, and you don't need it for validation. And Nova's like, I know that. But we can see that Nova's starting to look at Octavia a certain way, like, bitch, what's really going on? Then we get a scene with Darla and Ralph Angel. We literally saw on the last episode that Blue's world has been turned upside down when he just now found out that, Ralph Angel's not his biological father. And he's just been in shutdown mode. And Darla asks Ralph Angel, has he called, the psychiatrist? And he says he hasn't gone around to it yet. So we already see that, Ralph Angel, like a lot of us in the black community, we feel some kind of way when it comes down to a therapist or a psychiatrist. We have kind of built this mechanism that we'll deal with it on our own. But the thing about it is that a lot of us need, a therapist or a psychiatrist to help us work through things. But we're so used to, we don't have to do that. We'll usually deal with our own. And this is like, past generational thinking, because back in those days, they didn't have access to a therapist or a psychiatrist to help them work through their problems. So it's kind of like a bad trend within the black community, where when we have problems emotionally and psychologically, we don't actually seek help, But Darla reaffirms him that, look, we need to do this for Blue. We have to make sure that he's okay, because it's literally turned Blue's world upside down, and we can just see that Blue is definitely not the same after this. So then we actually get a scene with Charlie and Isabel. She decided to become a Charlie is leading her campaign to become a candidate for city council. Micah is there helping to work with her, and we see that there's a lady from St. Thomas who comes in, and she's willing to help to get the word out about Charlie. And we come to find out Prosper knows her, because she's asked, and what is your name, ma'am? And Prosper's like, oh, that's lady Genevieve. She's Leon's little sister. And she looked like, Prosper, I'm a grown woman. And then all of a sudden we definitely see that Prosper and Lady Genevieve definitely got a connection. Because remember, that was a funeral that he went to the funeral of her brother on the last episode, so we finally are meeting her, and she wants to help Charlie with her campaign. And we see that her and Prosper, love at old age is such a beautiful thing. And they were just so cute in this episode. And it was just cool how Prosper lit up, and, he was like, well, let's get reacquainted. And she's like, absolutely. You got to enjoy life as long as you can. And I was like, look at them. They're just too adorable. I loved it. I so loved it. So then we see Charlie and Romero. I love them as well. Pretty much, he talks to her about, canvassing the neighborhoods in Barrera's district, and Charlie's like, well, yeah, Barrera says she's gonna take care of that, and she says that, but you need to understand this, Charlie. They already know her. They need to know you. And she was like, are you talking about somebody specific? And he mentions Angel Martinez. He's a pastor at the at a Episcopal church, and he's very known in the community. But then he asks her, are you sure you want to do this? She says, and she was like, because these Boudreaux and these Landrys, they're a lot. And then Charlie says, I'm a lot. And she's like, I'll do what I have to do, and I can't lose my daddy's land. So then we get a scene with Hollywood and Vi. Vi is still shut down emotionally, but not only that, she's being shut down intimately because her and Hollywood ain't doing nothing in the bedroom, which is a shock because Hollywood's like, normally I gotta keep up with you, and she's just saying that I'm just tired and I'm just not in the mood, and it's so screwed up because they're still newlyweds. They're still supposed to be in marital bliss, and they're supposed to still be screwing each other day and night, and ain't nothing going on. So this whole situation has completely just turned Vi's world upside down. And we see that later on, she reaches out to a doctor to find out what's going on with her, and I'm gonna get to that. So then we get a scene with Nova and Octavia. Nova is being interviewed. He actually recognizes Dr. Laurent, and she says that, because at first she was gonna go outside and let Nova have the interview with the guy, but then after he recognized her, she starts embellishing. Oh yes, she is one of my star pupils. I remember guiding her, and I'm just so proud for her in her moment. And then she just sits right there next to Nova, and then Nova's kind of looking like, bitch, what the hell are you doing? Like, Nova is starting to pick up that this damn Octavia is literally serving her own agenda, and she's lashed herself onto Nova because she wants Nova's light. So pretty much, the interviewers are asking about, you wrote a book about your family. How has your family reacted to the book? And of course, she talked around it as usual that, the truth can be difficult, but on the other side of that is healing, and healing takes time. And then the interviewer mentions Charlie running for city council. Do you think your activism rubbed off? Do you think your activism has rubbed off on her? Now, Nova is completely blindsided because due to the fact that she's no longer in connection with the family, she had no idea that Charlie was running for city council. But she's just kind of blindsided, and she's kind of stuck as to how to answer it. This bitch Octavia interjects herself and was like, oh, of course Charlie was influenced, by Nova in her activism. It's called black girl magic. Just like, Charlie's being influenced by Nova and how Nova was influenced by me. Black girl magic just connects all the way around. And I'm just looking at this heifer and I'm like, you are really a piece of work. Like, seriously. But it's like they're there to interview Nova, and you literally interjected and made it about yourself. And we can just see that Nova's dumbfounded because she had no idea that Charlie was running for city council, and it makes her feel some kind of way. So we see that finally Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue sit down with the psychiatrist, and she asks him about school, and Ralph Angel answers. She's like, I want to hear from Blue. And she asks him, what's the name of your doll? And he says Kenya, and he says, what does Kenya say? And she says, Kenya says that Marcus has said that my pops isn't my real pops. So we get to the root of it, and I think in this situation, Blue has completely shut down to the point, the only person he's talking to right now is Kenya, and he's talking, he's pretty much talking through Kenya at this point, because his whole world has literally been like literally flipped on his head, just like on Vi. Which is why I'm completely pissed at Nova, because of what's going on with Vi and what's going on with Blue. I mean, Charlie pretty much bounced back, and so did Ralph Angel. But, the people that are really going through it is Vi and Blue. They both are going through it, like, in the worst way. So, this has really made me pissed at Nova, because the way she went about it has completely destroyed her family, and she wonders why her family wants nothing to do with her at this point. But then the doctor lets Blue know that, look, this is not your fault. Every family is different, but what's important is that a family is made up of people who love you. And she takes Blue, like, you want to go outside and play? So they go outside, and then while he's outside, she comes back in, and she tells Ralph Angel and Darla, let's do an exercise. I want you to put together a list of dreams, for Blue's future, because, his future is more important than his past, and that starts with the both of you. But we see that Ralph Angel is stuck, as to what to write, and we see that Darla is already, she knows, she sees the future for Blue, but Ralph Angel is kind of stuck at this moment. And then we see that Aunt Vi actually reaches out to her doctor, and she's saying that what's going on, and she's like, what's going on, because I'm not even being intimate with my husband, and this ain't like me. Is there something going on with my medication? And the doctor lets her know that, what's going on with you has nothing to do with your lupus medication, and she's like, well, something's going on, because trouble in the bedroom just ain't me. And she says that, did you have like an unexpected or traumatic event that just recently happened? And she admits, like, yeah, both. And both attributed to Jimmy Dale's old piece of, trifling ass. So then, we see that Nova is actually is in bed with Octavia, and she's reading about Charlie running for city council, and she's like, wow, I can't believe that, she's running for city council. She can really make some changes in St. Joe. And she's like, and we can see that here it is, Charlie is actually leading the charge and making changes, and here I am doing fluff interviews. And here goes Octavia with her bullshit. You're a star now, and you know how I feel about family. Family is nothing but biological accidents. I'm like, you evil whore. And she's like, and pretty much Nova was like, I hate it when you say things like that. My family is important to me. Yeah, they ain't fucking with her right now, but they are important to her. And she says, I want to ask you something. If you and Charlie weren't related, would the two of you be friends? And she says, well, I'm not clear that we're friends now. She's like, exactly. Sometimes you need to put your family in the back to get to where you need to go. And she's already kind of looking even more at Octavia like, you really got too much going on, and you're bringing too much bad energy to what I'm trying to do. But yeah, it gets even crazier. So let's keep going. So then we get a scene with Micah and Kiki. Kiki is about literally done with Micah at this point. You know, he said he's gonna go visit Aunt and Juvie, and he wanted her to go with him. And she says, "But you got to be family to go see him." But he says that, but you know, I've got a good relationship with the warden, and he says that maybe I could be a good influence on him. And Kiki's like, "You are. You know, it would be good for Aunt to see a familiar face. You know, it will help him." And she's like, do you want to talk? And she's like, "I really don't feel like it right now, but give Aunt my love," and she leaves. And you know, I definitely understand where Kiki's coming from, because you know, Micah has been doing a lot, and I think the overall change since he went to Europe, and the fact that he got into this fight with these guys when they were hanging out together, it's kind of really put her at a place where she's just like, "You doing too much, Micah," because she's a straight A student, and she's really focused on, you know, you know, bettering her life. And here it is, Micah's doing all this extra shit, and also getting a tattoo and all that too. He's doing too much. So we kind of see that, yeah, he's kind of screwed things up with Kiki. So it'll be interesting to see if they will actually get back together or not. So then we get a scene with Hollywood and Ralph Angel. You know, they're talking about, they pretty much just having a male, conversation going back and forth. They talk about this highway, and will Charlie be able to stop it by running for city council? And then Hollywood asks Ralph Angel how he's holding up. He's like, "Well, I haven't been getting any sleep lately between between Blue and Nova's book. It just really has turned everything all around." And Hollywood was like, "Yeah, I would burn that. I would burn that book if I could, man. Like, seriously, because it's just literally shaking the foundation of their family." And he pretty much says that he says that we had Blue meet up with a psychiatrist, and she wants us to write about Blue's future, but for me, today is today and tomorrow is tomorrow. So it just goes to show, like, this negative thing that goes on in the black community, especially amongst us black men, where we don't see the future at all because of so much trauma and so much tragedy within the black community. We really don't think, of us having a long life. We just think within the moment. And then, Hollywood starts talking like, sometimes we, think that tomorrow is for other folk. And then he starts talking about him and Vi, that they're going through the trenches where they should be at their happiest. They just got married. They got a little bit of money. Things supposed to be going well, but it's like everything is being robbed because of their past coming to rob their future. And then Ralph Angel encourages Hollywood. He says, "Look, y'all meant to be, so don't give up." So I thought that was real, that the two of them, two black men, had a real conversation about life and about about the future and about not giving up. I thought that was real. So then we get a scene with Romero, Charlie, and Micah. They're at a Condesa, which is kind of like a Mexican barbecue. We see that Charlie is glowing, and so is Romero. And we see that Charlie and Micah have a conversation, and he's like, "You really like him, huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, he makes me happy." And he tells her, "You deserve to be happy." And then, Romero comes back with a plate for Micah, and he literally can see the chemistry between Charlie and Romero, because she's smiling and he's smiling back. He's like, "You know what? I'm going to go hang out with Malik. I'm going to holler at y'all later." So pretty much, Romero also tells Charlie that, Angel Martinez is here, but you need to go to his turf and talk to him, because he ain't going to come over here. So she goes over to the table and she introduces herself to Angel Martinez. He knows who she is, because who doesn't know who Charlie Bordelon is? But he's very blunt with her as to where he stands, and he's like, first of all, I never seen you around our parts, and just because you can dance a little merengue and eat our food don't mean you gonna get our votes, honey. And he knows about her running for city council, and you know and he was saying that just because you come around, just because you at this little event and everything, don't mean you have my allegiance. Because Angel ain't playing. When it comes down to, his community, he's dead set about it. That, look, what are you willing to do for us, and how you gonna represent us? And pretty much she lets him know that, look, I will prove to you that I'm not the less of two evils, and that I want you to vote for me because you believe in me. And I will prove myself to you and your parishioners. So she already sees that, yeah, selling to Angel Martinez is not going to be easy. So then we see that Nova and Octavia are at this, event, which is about Nova's book or whatever. And she actually mentioned her affair with the married cop Calvin in the book, and these women were talking about it like, do you really think he was gonna leave his wife and his family for you, Nova? Did you really think that? And then Octavia immediately interjects again. It's like, girl, who hasn't slept with a married white man? And then Octavia grabs Nova, and she's like, Nova's like, I hate this, these parties are so superficial. And then Octavia's like, well, it's a game. We just have to be better players at it. And then, like, Nova was like, well, I'm not the person that's for playing games. Well, she's like, well, you got to get used to it. Oh, there's Lizette. I'm going to go say hi. So Lizette Lizette and Octavia starts talking. And she was like, oh, yes, Lizette, it's great to see you. She's like, yeah, good to see you too. But she says, I want Nova to do an edit. I want Nova to edit a collection of essays on race for me, and we see the true colors of Octavia, because Octavia again interjects herself and says that, oh, that's not Nova's forte, but I've been looking for my next project and it sounds absolutely perfect. I'm like, you evil bitch. And Nova overhears this. Because Nova just had it, but then it literally grabbed her attention that Octavia was trying to take an opportunity from Nova. But Lizette shuts her down, and she's like, the actual name of this is Fresh Voices. It's about emerging writers, but you can write the forward if you want. And she cracked Octavia's face. Octavia felt defeated like no other. And then all of a sudden, we see that Nova also peeped this, like, oh, okay. So Nova's like, so what was that about? And Octavia's like, oh, I was just singing your praises, lying her ass off. And she says, also, we have a lunch date, with the dean of faculty at Princeton. He's gonna come meet us. And Nova is literally saying, oh, us? Now it's us now? Like she's really starting to see that, yeah, Octavia is literally a leech. And she's sucking the life out of her. And she's over it. So, yeah, her eyes are completely open. So then we see that Charlie and Romero are dancing. And he asks, like, so how did things go with Pastor Martinez? She says, well, nothing yet. But she says, but I'm happy. I can't remember being with a man who wasn't trying to take from me or trying to change me. And I was like, Davis and Remy. Both of those men, because Davis took from her and Remy was trying to change her into something that she wasn't. And he pretty much says that you deserve great things, Charlie. And she was like, so do you. And I think we've waited long enough. And they get in and he gives her that Latin heat, baby. And I was like, I wasn't mad. Charlie was long overdue. After all the stress and stuff that she's been through, she need a man that's going to take care of her. And that's exactly what went down. So then we see that Nova is at a bar at the hotel. She gets a text from Octavia that she's there with with the dean from Princeton, and she just completely ignores it. And we see that there's this guy Terrence who literally is flirting with Nova. He makes her a drink and he calls it "drop it like it's hot." So he's pretty much giving conversation, and he introduces himself, and he's like, so tell me, how is it that a beautiful organic brown sugar like you are alone in this hotel? And she's like, well, I'm here with an old friend, a friend that I should have left back where I found her. But he was like, look, if you want, there's a DJ that comes out that I know one of the DJs here at the club. We can go and sweat out all your problems. I was like, okay, Terrence, with your fine ass. I was here for it. But she pretty much just thanks him for the drink and says that, nah, thank you for the conversation and the drink, but no. But then again, I'm thinking they may do something later. So, yeah. We'll hold our breath for that. And then we see that there's a scene with Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue. They're talking about animals and all of that. And he's talking about, about how like the mother penguin goes about and that the father penguin actually protects the eggs. And he's like, yeah. And then like Blue was like, yeah, he protects the eggs just like you do to me, Pops. And he's like, yeah, exactly how I do you. So we're seeing that, Blue is starting to come back after the session with the therapist, and we see that this definitely makes her happy. So then we also get a scene with Angel and Charlie, Angel Martinez. This was a very important scene, and shout out to Ava DuVernay for putting this in, because the real reality is that the black community and the Latin community are both not minorities, and we definitely need to come together, because even Tupac was even talking about this, where he's saying that, he wanted to create, a political party, for all the minorities in America. And they pretty much, Charlie and Angel Martinez talk about the Latin and black community, about coming together. And she was saying that, we built this country. But then he was like, yeah, you built this country, but we maintain it. And we take the jobs that others won't. And while this is going on, while you built it and we're maintaining, the white man is cashing the checks and laughing at both of us. So I was like, that was deep. But he says, I welcome an ongoing dialogue with you. But he says that, but there are a lot of problems with both of our communities, and they're not going to be fixed with just one election. But then she says, I completely understand, but I'm promising you that I'm here for the long haul. So then we see that Vi is at home, and then we see that Hollywood that went and bought a motorcycle because he don't know what is going on. He think it's him as the reason why she's not responding. Maybe I need to, take it up a notch. But she pretty much says that, I'm not going nowhere with you on that motorcycle. Are you tripping? But then she finally tells him that, look, what's going on with me has nothing to do with you. And she tells him that it's Jimmy Dale. Since he came back, my life has been turned upside down. Things that I thought that I had buried are now coming up. Yeah, you swept them under the rug, and now they're coming back to show its ugly head. But then she says that I just need some time, and I need space. And I'm like, boo-boo. Don't fuck around and end up losing Hollywood because you tripping, Vi. Like, I think you definitely need to get some therapy, because I knew him coming back was traumatic. But don't shut out your husband, because he's your husband for a reason. He needs to be there, and he needs to be a part of your life, and you just can't keep shutting him out. But then he says that, look, for better, for worse, through sickness and in health, I'm here for you. I'm like, yeah, but Vi, I'm gonna need you to get this together, because if you shutting out Hollywood would be the worst thing you can do to yourself. So then Afterwards, we get the damn showdown between Nova and Octavia. Octavia's mad as hell and she's packing up her stuff because she blew off, and she's like, "Oh, so I see that you blew off our lunch." And Nova's like, "You mean your lunch?" And she's like, "After all that I've done for you on this tour." And Nova's like, "And you invited yourself on this tour." I was here for Nova giving it back to her like, bitch, don't act like you doing this for me. You did this shit for yourself. And then she was like, emotional. She's like, being your confidant, being your supporter, being somebody that rooted for you day after day. Emotional labor is hard work, baby. And I will not be treated like an afterthought. And she says that you tried to take a book opportunity from me. How could you do that? And here it is, Octavia's like, you're not qualified for that, and you know it. When you're just getting stuff because you're hot, and you can be cold by the next day. And I have a 20-year career. When you get a 20-year career, then you can come talk to me. And Noah was like, 20 years don't mean nothing if it's based on lies and deceit. You better get her ass. And then all of a sudden, she was like, yeah, says the woman who threw her family under the bus, for a book deal. And then and then you start really seeing the monster of Octavia. She's like, yeah, I made you. You were so green. I found you, saw you, spit shined you, and I literally had to remove all the backwoods stench of your thinking. I was like, oh, get this bitch out of here. She gotta go. Because I wanted to slap the taste out of her mouth after she did that. And she was like, wow, there it is. I was thinking it before, but now it's clear. I've outgrown you. And that's why you're doing all this shit. Exactly, because I'm pretty sure she's never been nominated for a National Book Award, and she's not getting the notoriety and the kind of fame and notoriety that you're getting, and she's jealous. And it was kind of a coincidence that she was wearing green, because she is green with envy. And you just sink the monster out of Octavia to the point I'm like, oh, off with this bitch's head, because she doing too damn much. And she's like, and the doors that I've kicked down for you, all the stuff I had to choke down just to be seen, and I'm like, wow. But then she pretty much, Nova tells her that, look, I have a high respect for you. I'm beyond grateful. But I walk on my own path, and I will continue to do so. You're my first in so many ways. So, yeah, Octavia turned her out, just like she turned out her students. So she has a very predator way about her, because she was saying that she kept trying to find another her, and she wasn't able to. So I'm like, how many other Novas and Jasmines has you had over the years? And she finally leaves, and I was like, good riddance, bitch, because you were toxic. Yeah, I may feel my way about Nova, but don't nobody deserve no toxic snake like that in their midst. So then we see that Prosper and Genevieve are at the campaign headquarters, and they're stuffing envelopes, and he pretty much says that I'm gonna grill some steaks on the grill. You want to come over? She's like, I'll bring the wine. And I was like, ooh, I just like seeing the two of them interact. It is so cute, because you can find love at any age, and it's just really beautiful. And then we see that Romero and Charlie are talking, and they're talking about her campaign and all that. And next thing you know, a damn brick, comes through the window, and the glass shatters, and the piece of glass actually cut Charlie. And pretty much, when Charlie's sitting there with the towel against her, and she's like, oh my God, what if something would have happened to Lady to Lady Guinevere or to Prosper? Like, I don't know. He's saying that, and Romero's letting her know that, no, this is what you're gonna fight up against. You're gonna have to fight hard, because they're not gonna make this easy for you. And he pretty much tells her, like, you have to fight. And then we finally see that Ralph Angel finally starts writing the list. And I think what he put on the list was Blue's college graduation. So that's something he looks forward to in his quest with Blue. That yeah, I'm gonna be with my son through the long haul. So we see that Nova on her book tour calls Charlie and leaves her a message, and she congratulates her on running city council, and she can tell she's getting very emotional because she misses her sister and she misses her family, but she knows by her doing what she did, she's literally burnt a bridge with her family that's not gonna heal no time soon. So you gonna be on the outs for a while by yourself after you pulled that shit. Um, uh, and she pretty much says that, you have done great things for St. Joe since you've been back, and I'm proud of you. And then we see that Charlie announces her campaign, and she says it's going to take more than a brick through my window to stop me. And we see that the whole family is there for Charlie in a way that they weren't there for Nova during her book launch. So I immediately clocked that. And then we see that Romero's there. Angel Martinez is out there supporting her. And, it's a beautiful moment. And that's where the episode ended. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But yes, I'm glad that Octavia St. Laurent ass is gone. One line! Yeah, and now you can take your one line having ass back to New York where the hell you came from. With your trifling ass. Okay, so subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, subscribe to my new channel, Real Tea Real Talk. I actually have the link in the description box. Also, follow all of my other platforms in the description box as well. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Queen Sugar. So until next time, everybody, take care.